was a changing moment, I will say, because I struggled. Many people told me, Gayatri, you're giving it for free. Free, if you give, there is no value at all. Don't expect any value for this education. It's going to be a flop. I'm really grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi sir for this blessings, for acknowledging our work.
Hi everyone, welcome to Story Makers, the show where we bring to you powerful stories of people who are making difference in the society and they dare to make it. We have with us yet another story maker, a very dynamic personality, Dr. Gayatri Narasimhan, who has come all the way from Muscat to share her story. The best part is the kind of work that she's doing is being acknowledged by the Prime Minister of India. She is the founder of Prakramika Vocational Institute, and there is so much that she's doing to serve the society. I am your host Simran, and I'm so happy to have her with us here. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Gayatri.
Namaste. Thank you for inviting me here.
It is such a great honor to have you here. The kind of work that you're doing, we are so happy to have you here with us. Now, to start with this, I would like to know your journey, how you started, because the kind of work that you're serving, especially you're working with people, the children who have autism. And there was this one story which actually, pushed you to start this work. Please tell us about your journey.
A beautiful journey, I would say. What seemed like a very ordinary day turned into an extraordinary turning point in my life. I got a call from a parent who had a girl with autism, and she just mentioned, Gayatri, can you help me to support my daughter? So I just asked her, who gave you my number and how is that this is happening? Because I was very new to Oman at that time, and I'm getting a call from a parent. Then she said, I got your number from your daughter, Akshaya, and she gave me your number, and I want her to help my daughter in the school, and I want you to help me in her academics too. So Oman being a new place at that particular time, I didn't have much to do, and I was completely free and relaxed. I thought, why not take it up? But that was a huge challenge for me, because it's the first time it's an encounter or meeting a girl with autism or even a special needs or a neurodivergent. I was just clueless. This has happened 15 years back. Absolutely clueless about all this segment at all. So, though I was happy to contribute to the society, because I'd always been working with orphanages, with deprived children, particularly with the corporation schools. Those areas, yes, I had been catering to, but the special need was something very, very new to me. And that day was a changing moment, I will say, because I struggled. I struggled so much to teach the basic economics, ninth grade economics to this girl. The girl was very, very receptive, very sweet, very friendly, acceptable, but I could not reach her. So that questioned my education. I had studied so much, my software, I was a journalist too, everything. It questioned all my education. Why I have a lot of certificates I have. It questioned everything that I could not teach a girl, a ninth grade girl basically. So that journey started. So I thought just empathy is not enough. I have to have a better understanding, a better knowledge to um, even support or even to volunteer. You should have a knowledge. That's when I realized. So I had to go back, unlearn, relearn. So there it started my journey, not just with empathy or sympathy, but with compassion, innovation, and action. So
Wow.
why I say compassion is, every child I met later on, they taught me new methodologies. They said, whatever you know, it's outdated. So I had to go back again, learn something new, and come back, help the child. So compassion alone is not enough. Innovation is enough. It's equally required. And
Absolutely.
then call to action.
Wonderful.
So that's how the success story started. So day in, day out, it was a challenge. Every day was, even now, every day is an action day for me.
Oh wow. So it is such a great thing to hear that, the only thing that attracted me here, not is just the only thing, there are a lot of things. But the first thing that is, and the prior thing is that your daughter pushed you to start, teaching the girl with autism. And here your daughter believed in you. Now this is one of the things she knew that my mom can do it, and that's how you started teaching her. Now you face challenges, but we also know that you're coming in, you were a software engineer totally in a different field, and now that you're a special educator, you are doing this work wonderfully well. Yes, you had first challenge, but now what all the other challenges that you're facing?
Okay, coming from jumping from software or the corporate side, I will say.
Okay.
From corporate side to education, it was a dramatic jump. I will say, I was in a very structured highway
Uh-huh.
to a completely challenging forest area.
Mm-hmm.
There is no path at all. You have to find your own way out.
Yeah.
So that was a jump I had.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I'm a person who loves challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Anything if you say I can't do, I would love to do it and accomplish it. I'm a person, I'm that is my characteristics, and this of course was an add-on for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started my path. What the challenges I had was in the corporate side, or before I would say I entered into the special ed, I had a typical stereotype mindset. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is how a child has to learn, and this is how we have to process. This is how you have to come up in life. Maybe an engineer, maybe a doctor, or a chartered accountant. It was structure, stereotype, typical framework, just like any mother, or I had only that. But when I started having interactions with the special needs and their families, I I could understand that, or rather, they taught me that the pathways are different and there are huge, there are numbers are infinite. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot be stereotypical.
Hmm.
So, unlearning was my first challenge, a proper unlearning my temperament, my understanding methodologies, everything I had to unlearn. I in fact became a different Gayatri, I will say. The
Mm-hmm.
Gayatri 15 years back and the Gayatri now, entirely different. And then relearn. It was not just the unlearn, then the relearn. So, like, if I had a challenge in teaching a child, I went back, I learned all the teaching methodologies. Then I came back when I was teaching some few children, I had challenges in their behavior. So
Mm-hmm.
why they are showing certain behavior? What is the reason behind?
Mm-hmm.
Because many people say, my child is aggressive, my child has behavior problems.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, according to me, it is a communication. It's not a behavioral challenges at all. They communicate us in a
Hmm.
different way.
Hmm.
All we, as I mentioned before, understanding is what is required.
Correct.
So I had to go back, understand why that behavior is coming.
Hmm.
So what is the trigger point, what they are communicating with us. So
Hmm.
when I understood that, I could address to their behaviors too,
Wow.
because the communication happens, they know I
Correct.
can understand. So the
Yes.
behavior is cut off over there itself.
Yes.
So relearning had a lot of challenges. Again, handwriting issues my children had, particularly children with dyslexia. So I came back, did my handwriting course, sensory course, brain gym, yoga for special needs. So a lot. Whenever I had a challenge, I used to come back, figure out who is teaching this particular topic, go there. I've traveled to various places, including Malaysia, Singapore, various places. I've traveled just to learn.
Wow.
Then next, my daughter asked me one question. Mama, after I complete my 12th, I go to college, I do my highest education, then I end up with a work. What is this for? What is there for special needs? Do they
Mm-hmm.
also have such career?
Mm-hmm.
That again gave me a question mark. What happened? What is there after the school for them? Okay, maybe we can extend the school up to 22 years. But what after the 22 years? So that's when I came back to India. I visited many NGOs. I worked with many special schools. I just volunteered just to understand what they are doing.
Wonderful.
Basically, every NGO, every school, or the special school, they all try to do their best.
Yes.
Everyone to the heart they do.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the challenges they face? How I can work on those challenges? So, how I can improvise the education system for them? So, that was the path, I would say. So, there was a lot of unlearning, relearning, again unlearning, again relearning.
Yes.
So, it went like that.
Very nicely said. And here I would like to tell all those who are watching, and especially those educators, and if you would like to cater to a special education, in this, Dr. Gayatri has been perpetually saying that you have to unlearn and relearn, because the kind of systems that we are already learning, that is already in our blood. We know that system. But to work with special kids or with the special people, you have to relearn the entire process to make them the best. Now here, moving further, going through all these challenges, you also came up with the idea of opening your institute. Now this is one of the greatest thing that you did for them. Please tell us what made you to start this. And you're just not in India. India wanted you to be here, and you've moved across the world. You're in the Gulf countries, Oman, and where not that you're here. So excited to hear this out. What made you to start this?
PVI started, actually we started in 2015 as a social enterprise. I just wanted to have an institute dedicated for them. I just started. It was just thought. I just started without any idea. But in 2021 we registered it as an institute, as a Prakramika Vocational Institute. Properly it was got registered because we wanted to have a structured way of teaching and learning. What lacked in the outside system was there was no uniformity among the NGOs or among the special schools. Here I am talking about the special schools. So every special school, as I mentioned, I had volunteered, worked in many special schools. They all had their system, they all were trying to do their best, but there was no structure, there was no measurable curriculum. So I wanted to make the whole learning process a structured way, in a measurable way, in a uniform, where I can replicate it. Though I could make a prototype, I wanted to replicate it also. So for that, to make a prototype, I wanted a system in place, and that's how Prakramika Vocational Institute was started in 2021. Since I was an NRI, I could not make it as an NGO. It is in a one-person company as an institute. So we registered, and yes, it's going really fine, and we don't have any strategies like marketing or branding. So we don't make a lot of ads and all that. We don't have all that. Stories are much more powerful than the strategies, like what you people are doing now. So stories are much more popular. So when success stories started coming, so parents started sharing it with other parents. So people started approaching us. So that's when the next step was having a website, and the improvisation started. From one course we went up till more than 30 courses, and then people from other nationals also, they started approaching us. They said, can you help us out? I said, yes, why not? Because it's not a really it's not a region wise need. Inclusion is not a one particular region. Inclusion is a universal need. Everywhere
Correct.
people wants it. So the need is there. So there is no brand like India or US or Oman. There is no brand like that, or there is no more label like autism or Down syndrome. A child is a child. Education is an education.
Correct.
Nationality should not be a barrier.
Yes.
Nothing should be a barrier. So yes, we were ready to spread our wings, and there were a lot of people who supported us. I have to acknowledge each and everyone here, and that's how PVI reached more places, and still we are reaching. And now what we have done, we have put it as our mission itself, to touch more lives and to make every child's ability visible to the world. So this is our mission. There is no nationality, no religion, nothing, no barrier at all.
Wonderful. What a great mission that you're working upon. Starting PVI was also one of the bestest thing that you did. Now we also know that you're also teaching them about 22 courses and more than that that you just mentioned. And the best part is it's all free. How do you manage to, do this education free of cost? How do you manage all this? And it's such a great work.
Actually started with one student. So of course, before I come into this 22 courses, PVI, we work in 3 domains. So one is the inclusive education. We first work with the regular school system, and we try to have the children included in that area itself, in the regular stream itself. So half of the problem is solved. That's what we feel. If the inclusion goes in a proper way, 70 to 80% children can be included. So of course there are non-academic children where we try to include them in the vocations, and then the skill based. So we work in 3 domain areas. So when vocation has always been my passion, though I work even my doctorate was, my topic was in the inclusive education framework in the regular schools. Vocation has always been my passion area of work, because I see a lot of entrepreneurs coming up, I see them settle in life. So in that way, when I thought of starting a structured vocational training, I said I would like to give it as a free. I want to do this. I want to bring a change in this, in your child's future. So I gave an orientation for a group of parents. Trust me, only one parent came forward, and she said, "Okay, I'll give my child to you. Please do." None of the others came. Not though it was free of cost, because they had a mindset that such a thing is not possible. My child may not be able to do. I don't think they can be independent. So this was the mindset I could see in most of the parents, and not that they didn't believe the child, but they thought this was impossible. So when we brought that particular change, in that particular child, that was again the turning point. Many people started approaching, and again the success story started spreading, so we could bring more success stories. So what started with one child, the vocation, it continued. Again in 2021, we started something called skill based education program, because we saw a group of children who were neither academic, nor I could say they are non-academic. They could pursue till 10th or 12th. After that, they could not get into the real, that college-based competitive life. They could not pursue that. So there was a dropout. That doesn't mean they lack skills. They have skills, but they don't have education that is catering to their skills.
True.
So that's when we started off with skill-based education. One of the NGO in Pune, they approached, they asked me, Club Bengistan, I should mention that name, because those people were the turning point in my life. So they asked me if I could make a skill-based program. I said, why not? But online was again a big challenge for me, because I'm a very, very old-fashioned, conservative, conventional teacher. I don't use whiteboard because there is no sensory. I prefer blackboard and a chalk, because the sensory helps the child to learn better.
Right.
And that type of teacher using a computer and online was a huge challenge for me. Of course, both my daughters, they taught me how to use, and they helped me out during the COVID time. And we started with a front office management for 16 students. There were 2 dropouts, 14 completed that short term front office. Surprisingly, 8 of them got a job.
Oh, wow.
It was unbelievable. I could not believe myself. And it was such a huge, encouraging pat on my back. I said, yeah, Gayatri, I think you can go on.
Wow.
So I have to thank my younger one, Akila, and my elder one, Akshaya here, because they encouraged me, Mama, you cannot stop with one course. You have to introduce more. I said, how more? I am really, it's too overwhelming for me. They said, no, we will help you out. So they came forward. They are my pillars, I will say. So like my younger one started with designing. My elder one made a curriculum for computer based education. So from 1 we went up to 5 courses. Then the flow was very easy.
It was endless.
That 1 to 5, 1 was very difficult, 1 to 5 was difficult. Then after 5, it just went. Then we introduced 2-year programs. It is like a college-based professional career pathways, we say. We've introduced 1-year systemized, customized 1-year program too. Now, answering to a particular question, why free? So, as I first mentioned, we have a stereotype. Special needs cannot do complex activities. They cannot do complex courses. They cannot do high-end courses. So we wanted to break that stereotype. So we wanted to show the world, yes, they can do it. How that is possible? If I'm going to ask fees for these courses, and parents are going to pay huge fees, they will think 100 times whether the child will be able to do it or not. Why should I spend so much if the child can't do? But here in PVI, there is no fees attached. So the child can come and they can take up the course. If they find it too much difficult or too overwhelming, they can say, it's okay, I'll do another course. They can leave, they can jump to another. So whatever they want, they can express in a free manner. Even the teaching methods, they have the freedom to express. So they can say, ma'am, your teaching method today was very difficult. Can you explain in a better, much simpler way? They have all the freedom to come and approach us, talk to us. There is no judgment over here. So in this way, when we keep it for free, it goes, the achievement we saw.
What a great thought. And again, it's a new learning for me also. parents who are bleeding with money, and there are a lot of financial crisis. The best thing that we have here with PVI is free education. You can give your children the wings to fly being with PVI, and of course it's free of cost, so there's no burden on your head, but your child can do whatever they like to do in this world.
Many people told me, Gayatri, you're giving it for free. Free, if you give, there is no value at all.
Correct.
Don't expect any value for this education. It's going to be a flop. It's going to go down because people don't value anything given for free. What I felt was, when you keep the quality standard high, so people will not take it for granted. So in
Correct.
PVI, if you see, there is a very, very firm code of conduct. Anybody attached to PVI family, they will tell, the parents will tell how firm we are. Even that firmness is not just for the parents, it's equal for the teachers. Even we are also committed.
Wow.
So we are not firm with the children, but we are firm with the parents, we are firm with the teachers. So we are committed. More than firmness, it's a commitment we see.
Come on. Yes.
So it's like we start with a prayer. When we start with the prayer, children are expected to reach before the prayer.
Right.
They cannot skip God. That's a secular prayer. We don't promote religion here. So they are expected to start the class before the prayer. And closure meditation we have. We have assignments. We have the expected attendance. And the way we teach, there are no exams at all. Everything is tested practically, where children feel so comfortable. So in that way, when we have the quality high, parents don't leave us. So we are not taken for granted at all.
I'm so sure.
So that is why, even though if it is free, it is going successful. Here I wish to share, for our regular classes, we don't take donations, we don't take sponsors. There is no money attached from, and of course one more thing I should share, our convocation. We, for the 2-year program and the 1-year program who complete, we have a grand convocation always held in Bangalore.
Okay.
It's an in-person event. It's a huge event we conduct.
Wow.
Where children walk in with their graduation gowns, and we have eminent people coming in as chief guests, and the children are, they take their certificates, their medals for all the hard work they had put in for 1 year and 2 years.
Super.
So even the graduation is conducted completely free of cost for them. So all we want is that commitment and dedication.
And I think that's the key for anything that we do. It's just not with those kids.
True.
It's with all of us, and as an educator, as anybody in the profession or leading a normal life, we need to be committed with what we are doing, even if it's a small regime every day that you do. Now, do you have any special story which you would like to share with the audience, that this was the girl, of course, the first one who made you to start this, that we already know. But there's any other story that you would like to share with us?
Always I share this story because it's so much dear to my heart. My first project, Green Ivy.
Okay.
Green Ivy is a shop started for Abdullah. Abdullah is an Omani young adult with Down syndrome.
Okay.
So this, as I always mentioned, vocation is my passion area. Though I work in all segments, the vocation, always my heart goes there. So that happened like 4 years back, and 2016. Mother came and asked, can you make my son independent? Something I want him to do. There was no thought, nothing, no plan also. Then I asked, what do you want? What is that? So in that way, she mentioned that I have a small shop, it is empty, that I can give, but other than that, it's difficult for me. Then I said, no problem. We'll have something done for him so that he can sell in his shop. So like I said, but I need time. It's not a magic that can happen in a month or two. I need minimum 4 years. So 4 years, we started the vocational training for him. When I say vocational training, many people get confused. Okay, my child knows to make paper bags, or my child knows to make candles, or he's very good in carpentry. But vocation, when I say, it's like, okay, it's a skill job. It's not the only component for the child. For the vocation to be successful, there are so many components attached. The holistic approach parents should see. So when I say holistic, it's a communication, a computer, functional skills, safety, sex education, then financial literacy, physical fitness. So many things are attached. Only then the vocation can be successful.
Correct.
The child can be independent only in that way. So all these components need to be taken care of. So if I have to teach only a block printing or a screen printing, it takes 1 month. 1 month is more than enough for me to teach. But if I have to teach all these components, it will
Takes.
take me minimum 3 to 4 years. It's a minimum.
Correct. Correct.
So for Abdullah, we had done this. That's how I started documenting the curriculum component also along with Abdullah. That's why Abdullah's the Green Ivy project has been very, very dear to me. And then after 4 years, we inaugurated his shop, and it was inaugurated by the governor of central bank, like how it's RBA, Reserve Bank in India.
Okay.
Same way, the counterpart. So he saw His Excellency inaugurated, and if I have to say it is successful, it's not Gayatri alone.
Correct. It has to be
I had a
combined effort.
beautiful team over there. I need to mention Tariq sir, Yunus sir, Barka madam from Oman.
Okay.
They never thought, okay, she's an Indian, why you have to support her? They never thought like that. They just believed in me. They thought, yes, she's got some idea, let us support.
Yes.
I encountered huge challenges, and every challenge I used to run back to them, and they were there to help me out. Don't worry, Gayatri, you can do it. Don't worry, Gayatri, you will do this.
Wonderful.
So in that way, that team effort, that project was successful. And today he runs his business at home. His mother is there to take care.
Wow.
And it is going successfully. Of course, again, during COVID, there was a setback. 2019, we inaugurated his shop, and 2020, COVID hit, and there was a huge drop in the business. Again, we had to,
Push back.
push.
Okay.
So challenges are there.
Yes.
Every step challenges
But
are
that
there.
was what a great successful story again. So Dr. Gayatri, I know that you're working on this project called Unifying Pathways, which is one school, many abilities. Now this is coming in from the thing called like Gurukul, like we used to teach there. Please tell us about that project, and it's just not that you're doing. We know there are a lot other things that you're doing. Please tell us all about that.
Thank you for asking this. This has been dear to my heart. So, unifying pathways is basically, it has a concept that school is education provider. So, it's only one school, and student is a learner. That's all. So, a student can be a neurotypical or neurodivergent. There's no label attached. He is a learner, and this is an education provider. So that's all. That's why we say one school for many abilities. And that's what was happening in our ancient Gurukul system. So all children, they used to go to one teacher. So that is what we call that school now. And the teacher doesn't take into consideration, okay, he's a slow learner, or he's an autism, or he's a nerd, and all that labels are not given. So depending upon their abilities and capacities, their interests, the teacher trains them in various ways so that they become independent. That's all. And they move out of that system. So that is what, based on that, when I was just reading that casually, I thought, why can't it be adapted to the present situation, present scenario? So that's when I brought in this unifying pathways. Not only this, when I met one of the NCRT director also, she asked me, Gayatri, you brought a nice curriculum for special school, I appreciate, but are you not secluding them? Is it not exclusion by making a separate curriculum for the special schools? Are you not excluding them from the mainstream? She said, why don't you go think of merging everything together? You can, you do it. She motivated me in that way. So everything fell at the same place, and the thought provoking was that almost a year or more than a year I worked on this project called Unifying Pathways. So brought in a system where any type of a learner, they go to a school, okay, I am academically trainable, I am a neurotypical, okay, I get into the CBSE or a state board or an NIOS, whatever it is, curriculum. So I am a child with dyslexia, so I have a challenges in the regular curriculum. Still, with differential methodologies or the universal design of learning, or there are multiple intelligence. So based on that, yes, I can support you learn in a different way so that you can complete the regular stream. So this is the prime area. Now, if I say I cannot learn at all, for me, academic is no, I cannot write A, B, I cannot do all this. So for me, it's only a vocation. So I have a curriculum of vocation, set in place with, as I mentioned, the 13 component curriculum. So that is all, it's there, and that is provided in the same school. And okay, I am in between. I neither belong here, I'm not too academic, not too non-academic. What is there for me? So we have something called skill-based education. So any type of a learner, they have to be catered to in the same school. Why? Why it is so? Because when everyone learn together, they understand each other.
Mhm.
So working or learn when working with a neurotypical neurodivergent child later on will not be a challenge, because now when I take my children for a job, the companies or the corporate people, they are little, they feel apprehensive. They ask me, ma'am, it's difficult for us to employ a neurodivergent because we don't know how to help or support.
Mhm.
If it happens in the unifying pathways way, then accepting and working together becomes much easier. The later on inclusion becomes easier. So this is why we gotten this unifying pathways. Now they came, see, the neurotypical, they have textbooks, they have their studies. Now what is there for the the special needs? So that is why now we are bringing up another project called Beyond Labels. So
Okay.
it's an academic book for the special needs.
Okay.
Like how the neurotypical, they have their academic book, the same way it's for the designed for the neurotypical. It's a project done by our parents, teachers, authored by 12 people of PVI family. So we are coming up with that mega book, which is going to be released in 3-4 months, Beyond Labels.
Okay.
So this is our next project, and the third project is training the teachers,
Okay. Wow.
because I cannot have PVI just with me. So I
Mhm.
need to share the knowledge with others too. So that is when we have developed teacher training module, like teacher educator module for the regular schools, where a simple teacher, where academic teacher can cater to the special needs in her own class.
Mhm.
So how that is possible? So we have something called teacher educator model,
Mhm.
and then we have assessment tool for the vocations for the special needs. Many time parents come and ask me, ma'am, what do I select? How do I select vocations? How do I select the career for my child? So assessing the children for career becomes very challenging. But yes, in PVI we have developed that assessment tool, and now we train people, we train the institutions. Like for example, I have trained in V Embrace in USA, I have trained Oman Down Syndrome Association, and till yesterday I was there at Karun Mai, a special school in Mysore. So we have trained those teachers, and we have trained a group of parents in Texas. So it's like we share the knowledge with them. When I say share the knowledge, not just teaching, but we give the complete documents, complete handout to them,
Okay.
nothing hidden at all. We
Okay.
wish to share it totally.
Okay.
So this is how, it just goes on.
Hmm.
And I hope unifying pathways comes to more school, because what happens, accessibility will improve. Even the remote area children, they can, because every school will become self-sustained.
Mhm.
So in that way, inclusion will be more professional, accessible.
Now we know that there are a lot of projects that you're already working, and of course you're training the teachers. Here, when you've been doing this all through your life now, you've also been acknowledged by the Prime Minister of India, and of course, UN has also recognized your work. This is a greatest achievement. How does this feel? Getting to be acknowledged by these who and who. Please tell us about that.
I was really humbled. It was, I was in the cloud nine when just before our first convocation for the neurodivergent, which was to be held in Bangalore. Just 2-3 days prior to that, I got a mail from PM, mentioned, where he had appreciated our work, and he had wished all our students before the convocation. It was unbelievable for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't believe my eyes, and not
Wow.
just for me, it's for the whole family,
Mm-hmm.
PVI family. It was, we all of us were extremely happy. And what this showed is that yes, we are on the right track.
Hmm.
Yes, challenges are there, struggles are there, I do agree. Yes, but we are on the right track. And it also showed that we have to start amplifying our work, reach more. So this is one thing. I'm really grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi sir for this blessings, for acknowledging our work. And next was a UN. UN, they had, I had a great opportunity to present about unifying pathways in Nairobi. When the UN summit, I had it was again a unexpected opportunity. So I was very happy. And in fact, UN has recognized our work. It's called Skill Forge.
Mm-hmm.
The skill development course is called Skill Forge project, and which they have put it in their website itself. It's there in their
Wow.
website.
Okay.
So again, that's a huge acknowledgement I felt. And so this such acknowledgements really help us to reach further, and it is not a personal achievement. I don't call it a personal achievement because it's a teamwork
Team
again.
member.
It's
Yes.
a team effort. It's a parents, our super mom and super dads, our parents, we call them like that. So their trust in us, are dedicated teachers. What a wonderful work they do. Our esteemed board members, the knowledge, the support they give at all time, it's highly appreciable. I have to thank them. So it's a collective effort. So it
Yes.
cannot be a personal achievement.
Yes.
Having said, yes, personally also I have achieved many awards and recognition. Yes, it's always like, pat on the back, as you're getting a star on your hand.
Yeah.
It is a happy moment, but the real reward I feel is when I see the smile on a parent's eyes.
Yeah.
When I see that hope in the parents' eyes, yes, my child also can achieve. When I see my child achieve and they say, ma'am, I have joined this MNC company. I've got internship here. I'm going to work here. So when I see that transformation, when I see that, that is the actual reward for
Super.
me.
Super.
And that reward is, I cannot explain in words. Yes,
Yes.
that's the best
I'm
part.
so sure I can see that thing in your eyes, that how beautiful that you feel once you have that recognition, especially from the parents. You've been working with the parents, and of course, you're working with the special kids, but you also work with parents and the caregiver. You've been teaching them as well. What is that one advice to all those parents who have special kids, or let's say neurodivergent individuals in their family?
So to every parent who is watching this program, one statement I wish to share with you: you are not alone. We all are there with you. I have come across many parents who have got their children just diagnosed, who have to get their children further diagnosed, or who have been working with the children, even who are tired after working a lot with their children. What I had seen with the parents is that unconditional, unwaverable, that love they have in the child, that I have seen. And that is what is more important rather anything. The world may be sometimes not very kind with the children, but you parents should have that belief in them. You should have that persistence. You should have that patience in them. Definitely, when the children are given that opportunity, yes, they will achieve. They may do mistake, they may take some time to learn, agreed, but give that pat. Say, yes, I'm there with you. I am there to support you. Give that encouragement, and that feel of safety and security. In that, you will see a beautiful flower blooming, and that is your child. So have that, and be the cheerleader for your child. Be the person who can fight for their rights. You have to, yes, fight for their rights. Be the person who is always vigilant about their actions. And beyond all that, my dear parents who is watching, please take care of your health. That's the prime important. Yes, I know you need to work a lot with your child, but don't forget about your health. Your physical health, your mental health is the foundation for your child. They need you more than any one of us. Today, me as a teacher can be for your child for some time. Then I may leave, but you parents can never leave your child. So please take care of your health, which is the prime important.
Thank you so very much. Trust me, I love the entire interview and I love meeting a person who's doing such wonderfully well for the society. It's such a heartwarming thing to have you here with us on this platform, and I'm sure you like the interview as well.
Wonderful. It's like reliving my journey.
Well,
That's always a pleasure, and it's very nice feel.
I'm so sure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so very much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, my dear audience. Like I said to Dr. Gayatri, that I loved meeting her, and I'm sure that you would also have loved the entire interview. Please go through everything that has been said by her, and yes, that can make a difference to many lives. Here's Simran signing off, but I would like to tell you once again, Story Makers is all about, giving that confidence in you that yes, we can make difference in the world. If you too have a story, what are you waiting? Share with us. Till then, Simran signing off, but I promise I will be back soon. Stay blessed.